Hello and welcome to another movie commentary. This time we're going not too back in the past, to 2016, and for the subject of today's topic, we're actually instead going back specifically to the bane of all existence, that is ancient Egypt, specifically about their mythology. A lot of the sword and sandals, movies of between the 50s and 70s were about either Hebrew, Old Testament, or Greek mythology, sometimes Norse stuff, but not that much. But there weren't that much about, the Egyptian pantheon. Maybe about the story of Cleopatra, obviously one of the last queen of Egypt, but not much about their deities, which is a bit of a shame because there's untapped potential. And so, in 2016, Lionsgate, via their Summit Entertainment branch, allowed director Alex Proyas, the director of The Crow, as in the original one, 1994, Dark City, and the 2004 iRobot movie, to give an attempt at that. The result was, well, bad. At least a box office bomb, and the movie was ridiculed, mostly for one very specific reason, which we'll get right as we get pretty much into the movie. It will be very evident, trust me.
To be fair, there were apparently other reasons. I've seen this movie
Right,
before,
right.
and
The competition. This was actually released at the same time as the first Deadpool movie, and like 1 or 2 weeks after Zootopia or Zootropolis arrived. So Fox and Disney pretty much tag team to slap in the face this movie.
Well, not quite everywhere.
Well, I'm talking about American release. You know what I mean, Dweebs. Anyway,
the big domestic release, basically, Dwibs. But yeah.
But this film was Australian, so.
well, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, we're talking, like I said, about the Gods of Egypt, starring a couple of people that you might know, including, for example, Chadwick Boseman in his right immediately pre-Civil War role. So it's a bit interesting to see him similar to the movie 42 we did.
So happy that 42 was the first Chadwick Boseman film we did, and
Instead of
not
this,
this.
yes. Anyway, let's not be too much around the bush, shall we? Start your copy right before the Summit Entertainment logo is there. Red one specific. I don't know if it's custom, but I don't think so. In 3, 2, 1, click. While we're going through the credits, opening credits, do you mind telling what happened in your country for the release of this?
Now, this movie came out in the US in February, I believe. But for some reason, the Entertainment One, who distributed the film here, decided to try and avoid the negative press of the Gods of Egypt release in the US and delayed its release till the middle of June 2016 around here. Did it work?
Genius!
No.
I'm sure.
Genius! I mean, it's not like the internet
Yeah, I
is
was
a
about
thing
to
to
say.
constantly keep people reminded that this is a bad film. Okay,
I saw it in the cinema, so.
Okay, like I've alluded to, I saw this movie before, and I'll admit, my first mindset wasn't the one controversy that people bring up at the start. Now, my mindset is that the writing is not great, and while there are good ideas at hand here, they're wasted. Now, there are thankfully some other media bouts of Egyptian deity stuff, most notably, of course, Rick Riordan, same guy who gave us Perseus Jackson, did do an Egyptian god series as well. And hey, we have now, of all things, Moon Knight to shed some light on Egyptian
Not that
mythology.
much, arguably, because the Moon Knight series was still a bit, not super accurate and talked more about the lesser part of the pantheon. Mind you, this is still not a super complete, accurate adaptation because lots of weird shit happens in the Egyptian mythologies. But some stuff that I better not to say here. So, some concessions, unfortunately, to be named. But to be fair, again, so did all the movies about the Greek pantheon in the past, or even stuff about the Norse pantheon. So it is part of the course to have something like that. And it's a first kind of major attempt, distributed for a wider release. I wouldn't even mind that, which is why, for a conception, for the type of story this wants to tell, I actually don't mind it too much, this movie. Granted, I will, very open to see something a bit more accurate in the future and given a bit more respect, as you're about to see. But as a first attempt, it arguably could be much worse.
If I may, I feel like what you have there is kind of a bit of a Life is Strange case where part of the reason Life is Strange got praised in the day was because it was one of the first ever non-overdone or, non-extraordinary take on the gay couple. Ergo, there wasn't as much material that, didn't have gay couples being over the top or way too loud and proud about it. It was just them being a regular couple. I don't. Now, argument is that game was not really that great, but it was what people had to work with.
Riff Raff, Street Rat. Literally. And
Scoundrel!
we literally start with the major problem of this movie that was in pretty much since the first trailer, the whitewashing. Now, okay, outside of a couple of exceptions, most of the people involved with this movie are pretty much, Caucasian in terms of, origin. Yes,
that is something I do want to talk about because I remember a few years ago, or was it last year, Jaded Pickett Smith made a documentary about Cleopatra.
Oh, right.
That she was black, but then people were saying no, people from I forgot what country.
Greek, Macedonian specifically. By the time Cleopatra rose, Egypt was basically one last vestige of Alexander the Great's, empire, which was given to one of his generals, Ptolemaios.
Okay, just to make sure, because it's like, yeah, Egypt's in Africa, but it's weird that just kind of gets brushed aside.
I think the nearby the Mediterranean Sea allowed them contact, with other nations and consequentially, allowed, relationship, with people of other ethnicities, which, possibly, mixed up the gene pool. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, this here is Horus, a god who is so full of himself that I'm sure he won't have to deal with any fallout whatsoever.
Nikolaj Coster-Waldau from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Jamie Lannister.
But yeah, that's the thing. He does not have top billing. That goes to our young thief played by Brenton Flates, and
this is because it is a story that involves both the gods but also the mortals in some degree, which is weird because Egyptian meeples, compared to the Greek ones, tend to be fairly, staying in different lanes. The gods are firmly, on themselves and barely interact with the mortals.
I want to ask a question.
Go on.
What? Between this movie, Dracula Untold, Morbius, and Madam Web, Lost in Space aside, because I haven't seen that, how in the fuck have Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless still getting writing work, especially on major big budget movies?
Yeah, I haven't told you
the box office hit that they made.
Citation
Dracula
needed.
Untold and The Last Witch Hunter were literally every other film that they've made has been a disastrous bomb.
Yeah, I was about to save it as a surprise edge, but yes, this is from the same writers of Morbius and Madam Web.
Good Lord God in heaven. And
I was going to make when you talked about the casting, I was like, is Jared Leto in this?
Thank God, no.
Surprisingly not. This really feels like it's kind of MO of film.
Who's this woman? She looks familiar.
Let me see.
She's
a woman, yes.
In terms of box office bombs, this movie was no exception. On a budget of $140 million, it made $150.6.
It was too expensive with its budget, and especially for Lionsgate standards, so that's why it could not find a recouping.
Apparently, budgets for movies aren't exactly public domain. A lot of the time, it's just sources guessing the budget.
And a couple of other times I know that companies inflate or deflate deliberately to, prop themselves up.
But I can't imagine $150 million box office of a film with supposedly top-notch CGI effects such as this would be anything more than a disappointment.
Yes. Okay, I will say this. And you know what? Since we talked about the whitewashing, Let's take it a step further. They went to the last Airbender school of whitewashing, wherein the main characters are white, but oh no, the background characters actually get to look like they come from Egypt, essentially. Look, I'm not gonna act like there were never any light or fair-skinned people in Egypt. There were, and certainly are, essentially, but I mean, okay. The first and foremost, the problem is they went for some questionable casting at times. Look, it's gonna be bad enough if you have a character or actor who's maybe not the same nationality, but if they can at least do the look, you know, without having to be like a minstrel show. Sorry, Kathy Bates, I love you, but what the hell in North? Or they have to be just that good an actor that you can at least make the argument that they were the best in auditions and whatnot. So, one of those main actors is Gerard Butler. No.
Also,
it's Elektra.
yeah,
it's Elektra.
Elodie Young, I was about to say, basically. As Hathor, the goddess of love.
How funny! She's in a movie that got spanked by Deadpool, but she'll be back for a
And
Deadpool
here's Chadwick
movie.
Boseman.
Oh no,
as,
that's a different.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman here plays Thoth, as in the god of knowledge and wisdom, which he normally would have an Ibis head.
His accent here is, I don't know.
This was just a few months before Civil War. Like, this movie was actually very close to kill his career.
So Brian Brown plays Osiris. He's Australian, and speaking of which, apparently Australia footed a good chunk of the bill for this, since the Australian government provided a tax credit for 46% of the film's budget.
Well, the film was made in Australia.
It was also filmed partially there, mostly for logistical reason, because, you know, there are scenes in the desert, and they actually basically decided that filming actually in the Sahara would have been too dangerous for the health of the actors and the crew. Mind you, I don't find the outback in Australia that much of a safer environment, but you choose what you decide.
So Osiris is a benevolent king who says that all are welcome to the afterlife. For some context, the afterlife is very tricky in Egyptian mythology. There are some versions where you actually have to be tested, and if you don't have a perfect weighing of the scale by either a Hippo or Anubis, based off of which version of the mythology you're going off of, yeah, you're in for a bad time, essentially.
You get devoured by a chimera beast. It's not very pretty.
That's a thing, Tio, because remember the year before this for Mad Max Fury Road, they had to film in Namibia because the Australian outback was too green.
And here's Gerard Butler as Seth.
Now this, believe it or not, Gerard Butler is actually the star of the show, in my opinion.
God forbid, but yes, I do know where Dwibs is coming from. Like, okay, look, I don't want to be too much harping on Gerard Butler, but let's be honest, a lot of his credits baffle for a good reason. Oh yes, let's put a guy who has trouble singing as the main lead in Phantom of the Opera. Oh yeah, let's give this guy who has a very shaky singing voice in, God, that weird animated movie about critters having to deal with their parents possibly being dead due to pollution. I forget the name of it.
I don't think that's Secret Life of Pets.
No. It's not quite Ferngully, but it goes through a lot of the similar beats as Ferngully. The point is like, I don't know, something about Gerard Butler kind of feels like he has trouble fitting into almost every role he's given.
Do you think he's a bad actor, or he just has bad casting?
Bad agent, I will say that.
His agent, he's a better agent. I mean,
this film,
problem. Wasn't he?
I will give him credit. He's good in How to Train Your Dragon films.
And I argue, you know, King Leonidas was basically his major role.
So I feel like the problem is more so just he gets stuck in the wrong roles for him.
So yeah, the one consistent thing with the mythology, Seth is a kind of an asshole and wants to take the throne for himself.
Although to be honest, hearing his reasoning later on, I do kind of feel
Yeah,
a
they
bit
tried
for
to
him.
make him more sympathetic because in the mythology he really was an asshole. Another thing that is
Which
worth noting is that the gods, not all of them, but some of the gods should have an animal head of some sort. Like I mentioned, Thoth should have an ibis, a bird, type of head. Seth should have a jackal, and so on. But instead, they decided to convert that into animals
Oh.
logic.
So I'm okay with that. And yeah, as you may have noticed, one of the cool things about the gods in this universe is that they're actually a lot more open and willing to fraternize with their mortals, essentially. Oh, and by the way, what Set does here is way more G-rated compared to what he does in
Yes,
mythology. Ergo, mutilate and tear Osiris to literal pieces.
the poor guy needs to be put back together, including his penis, and depending on the version, it is or it is not found.
Are gods in Egyptian mythology as freaky as gods in Greek mythology?
Depends.
Depending on it really is a subjective thing because again, there's a lot of stuff that adaptation of the Greek mythos do not tell you, like the rape, the lots and
Yeah.
lots of rape. Here,
Now,
Also,
here there is a lot more goofy kind of stuff, but sometimes it goes into the gross out
and as
stuff.
for the now, as for the reason why none of the other gods help him, one of the characters literally just said, "We will stand with you, but now's not the time."
Also,
Because
Horus' entire strength is in his eyes, as noted.
another thing to keep in mind, Edge, you know a lot of the phallic imagery from Egypt, supposedly to, compensate the gods, essentially. Now, I will say this. You can think of gods as Egypt is kind of like presenting the gods of Egypt as superheroes. And I actually think this is not a bad idea, essentially, since, again, like Tio mentioned, we don't have a lot of media focusing on the Egyptian gods, so
Yu-Gi-Oh, JoJo.
There you go. That's
there you
whole.
go.
Speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh, because even Horus, even in there's the Jackal mask. They're literally Power Rangers villains.
No shit. I saw the gift of him transforming earlier today on Twitter because there's an account named Neb's Good Takes that just posts random movie gifs. So I'm just like, what?
What are the chances?
Yeah.
even in the cinema in 2016, when I saw this, even I was like, "Oh God, what are these effects?"
Okay,
Also,
okay.
Jova, one of the most
Yes.
popular Pokemon of all time, is based off of Anubis.
Oh, yes, I'm aware.
Yeah, the great sight god. What's his name again? Sorry,
Horus.
Horus.
Horus being defeated by disco fever.
Remember that with the strength is entirely in his eyes, so Seth exploits this kind of point. And yeah,
Honestly,
Horus Set literally tears Horus's eyes apart. Jesus.
don't worry though, they appear mechanical, so we can still stay at PG-13.
I could kill you now, but
I had to listen to her instead. I love that she doesn't say anything. It's not even a case of, oh, take me instead. No, she just kneels and that's enough for him to understand it. For some reason.
So yeah, Set's taken over, and as he said earlier, now you've got to buy your way into heaven.
And yes, he has a literal penis monument being built for
The
him.
obelisk, yes, just with a Metroid-style base, with the heads of the bosses, I guess.
In this version, since gods literally walk among the mortals in Egypt,
You should have said Among Us.
No. God.
how does this affect the Old Testament Exodus then? Given that,
Let's pretend this is before that. To be fair, Egypt is been a nation existing for a very long time, even before they appropriated the Jews as slaves.
It's like, imagine, like, the gods do all their nonsense here, then in comes Old Testament God and pretty much puts them in their place, apparently, according to Exodus.
Now I know also because this is relatively bullshit for Set's takeover, because one of the deities that is not in here, Sobek, which is a god with a literal crocodile head, tends to be a very litigious and probably would have had a say in the matter instead of the others just running away like chickens without their heads.
I literally don't know why they didn't include her. She'd be either a
Yeah.
good foil or some versions
maybe you're
make it a
thinking
her.
maybe you're thinking of Best. I forgot if Best is in this. No, she's not.
Hold on.
Watch the Catwoman movie to find that out instead.
Wait, was she in Catwoman?
Remember that the origin story
Boss.
for Catwoman in that movie is that ever since ancient Egypt, the goddess, Bast or Bast, depending on how you pronounce it, has granted her powers to mortal to fight evil and shit.
Okay,
Is this movie fucking fake? Is this a fake movie?
The god I was thinking of was Amit, actually.
Oh, well, instead, what I said was instead Sobek without K at the end.
Right, yeah. My bad. But yeah, no, if I recall correctly, Amit is not in this movie,
No,
which, hey,
again,
you want to have...
this is a very first, like I said, Jova, this is a first attempt at a major scale, so they probably did not want it to have, that much in terms of a pantheon, but as you and me noted, this kind of damages things a bit.
Yes, this is one of the main critiques of the movie, aside from the whitewashing, the, well, lack of proper gods. Now, yes, I get it. Egyptian mythology is not the most well known, but shouldn't that be kind of all the more reason to try and go all out? Mind you, in a way that makes sense. Like, look, it's not like you're making Avengers Endgame where you have to give every Egyptian god, like, a movie beforehand or whatnot, but maybe group them together or focus on them better because, for a movie called Gods of Egypt, I have some bad news for you first time viewers here. A good chunk of this movie isn't even about the gods themselves. No, remember, the one with top billing is our not Aladdin thief, essentially.
I think, okay, Dramid Waves, was Summit or Lionsgate themselves who were handling 2 years before this, The Legend of Hercules?
Yeah, I think it was Summit.
So, there are some similarities with that.
The same people who gave us the Twilight movies. How
Well,
about
besides
that?
that, if you haven't seen it, The Legend of Hercules tries to be a take on the mythos that tries to not talk too much about the gods. They make sure to tell you that they are a thing, but they do not, interfere too much. This is a bit better on the matter by having them, being part of the focus. But, unfortunately, that same thought process, was still lingering.
Also, you were asking about gods getting their freak on Dej? Well, Set just got done with a session.
Okay.
Oh,
Wait,
thank
Urshifu.
goodness.
Is that where the Pokemon on Urshifu got its name?
Not
Maybe.
really.
Okay.
Urshifu is all about, martial arts instead.
Yep, me, the most Scottish sounding Egyptian ever.
I think even Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series took a jab at this. I think it was right at the end of the Waking the Dragon arc, and I forgot which context was, but it was Yami saying something like, "Now I banish you to this like the whitewash cast of gods of Egypt."
Okay, now, if I were to play devil's advocate with Gerard Butler's casting here, my guess is that somebody really liked 300, saw
Yeah.
how bombastic he was for that, which does touch a little bit on mythology and whatnot, so they figure, hey, maybe he could be the villain. And look, okay, if it had just been Gerard Butler for it, I could maybe be fine with a little bit of different nationality casting and whatnot, if it weren't the main majority. That being said, I don't feel like this movie uses Gerard Butler to his strengths as well as it could be, essentially, since there are weird times where they try to have him be rather subdued, and I'm like, no, you're using Butler wrong if you're trying to have him be subdued and subtle, essentially. Oh, Jesus Christ, those scorpions.
Wow, wow, the stop motion looks great. Oh, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think Ray Harryhausen is just, tumbling a bit in his grave.
Sorry, this gigantic budget, and yet that's the best you could make scorpions look? Like, I'm sorry, Godzilla -1, if I recall correctly, had a much lower budget, and that looks much better than this. What the hell? Was there like some crunch at the helm?
I mean, there was a 7-year gap in between, but still.
Also, like we said, this is Lionsgate. When they have tends to have CGI for the most part, it tends to be very on the cheap side.
I think the problem is just that look at the budget, 140 million. That's not exactly peanuts
Almost half of
budget
it,
wise.
as Dweebs noted, forked by the Australian government. So that's where tax money going for.
But yet it doesn't look
Yeah,
like
but I'm
the
not
money.
Australian, so.
Still
And yet,
something Commonwealth. Go on, Drover.
all that money, and I don't see it on the screen essentially. And the thing is, some of these renderings just seem amateurish. Like Dweebs mentioned, a lot of these look like PS3 recordings. Like, and okay, here's what would have been an easy fix if you had trouble rendering biological things. Make them mechanical, like you kind of already did that with Horus's bird form, essentially.
Like
Like,
the Stargate franchise, which is a good basic introduction to some Egyptian stuff, tended to have some degree of CGI in the movie, but more mechanical stuff, used for different representation in the series. When it comes to the aliens that tried to overtake Egypt. Long story. But so at the very least, Roland Emmerich and MGM knew how to mask properly, things for that. I don't know. Like Jova said, it feels like we should have actually invested better the money. Also, I found it is during the climax between Yami and Darts, and I think when he's having the flashback episode as an explanation by the whitewash cast of the film Gods of Egypt. Which I think is not
And-
too different from the scene. Oh Jesus! From the scene where Kaiba starts questioning the flashback. Yes, why are they white?
And this is where I asked this stupid
And he
question.
died.
Yeah, contrary to what DuckTales told you, jumping inside a pile of gold doesn't work.
It's
Yeah, well,
not
that
a
was that-
liquid.
There was that DuckTales parody song where he said, if he dived in, he'd break his neck.
And there you go. Set takes the villain ball.
Now, you're wondering how he got out.
Shut up.
Moving on.
Uh-oh.
Shit.
Okay, and here's one of my big problems. Set holds the villain ball a lot. Oh yes, I'm gonna put Horus's eye in a place that a mere mortal can get through. Oh, but don't worry, I'll put in scorpions that can be rebuffed by the eye itself in it.
Ever seen the Scorpion
Genius. Okay, look. Maybe in a video game, that kind of logic flies since you need it to be winnable, but this is a movie.
And this did not even
Set.
get a tie-in video game.
God, can you imagine? So, Set, my boy, my main man, why didn't you just put it in, your safety deposit box, essentially? Where literally no mortal could find it. Oh, don't flash me!
Not the time to kiss her.
I love it. These two are such horn dogs that they kiss and make out even while escaping for their very lives. Quickly! Into the totally not animated background! Hey, you saw Prince of Egypt, right? That was a good movie.
Marco Beltrami was the composer for this, I believe.
Oh yeah, by the way, our thief's
She died.
lover, she gets one shot by a single arrow, because it's 2016, and yet we still need to have, freezing the love interest to motivate our main character. Christ.
Okay, the weird thing is, though, he was already motivated to get the eyes, so her
But it's
dying
not
wasn't
enough.
even-
We need to kill female
What the
characters for that.
actual what?
Yes, Deds, the female lead does indeed die this early.
Well,
Okay.
don't worry, guys. We have another female lead later.
Oh, speaking of boss from earlier,
Okay. Okay.
Don't worry, Dad. We're only 30 minutes in.
you gotta love it though. It's not just that she dies, but
This might actually be the worst death I've seen in a movie all year.
wait, hold on. Worse than Talia's death in Dark Knight Rises?
I said all year.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. But still, though, okay, you gotta love it. It's not just that she dies, but she dies in the most nonchalant factor. It's like, oh no, an arrow. Which, okay, I'll be honest, that arrow didn't even look like it hurt anything vital. That looked like something that could have been patched up, but no. However, remember, ever since Set changed the rules, now one can't easily get into the afterlife now.
Also, Dad, worse than Michael Madsen's death in the first Blood Rain.
Okay, that's a contender.
For record, since I didn't tell you when we watched that, Michael Madsen was drunk as shit when filming, which explains a lot.
Yeah, I can tell.
Actually, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Really?
All you gotta do is just be, I guess,
Oh,
good
these,
enough with ticks.
This is where our main character starts to become a bit of a dick. Now he wants to, instead of actually, just giving the eye that he has found to Horus, he basically blackmails him into the whole, bring my lover back to life or help me do it.
Like, I don't even believe she was killed just for fridging, but okay, if it motivates him to do something heinous like this, I'm sorry. Wouldn't it have been more interesting for her to just, be alive, essentially? Like, if you really had to kill her, at least maybe wait until, like, the halfway point of the movie, and then maybe we introduce the stakes with death.
Also, I'm getting flashbacks to Demon Souls with the old hero fight.
You know what? Teo, that's it. We make a Souls-like game that takes place in Egypt.
I just wanted the next.
Sure, why not?
I just want the next part of the God of War franchise to finally go there instead.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see it in 3 years from now.
It's gonna be funny if they do the Perseus Jackson thing, and instead of going there, we instead go to Rome, because turns out there are crazier and eviler versions of the Greek gods in their Roman forms.
Well, no, the Norse saga pretty much established that the other pantheons who coexist are the Egypt, the Mesoamerican, specifically the Aztec one, and the Celtic one and the Japanese one. So it's one of those.
But I'm calling it now, the Roman one's going to turn out to be a secret hidden one, and they're the most evil and
remember,
crazy of the
Jova,
bunch.
the original ending that David Jeff, envisioned for the franchise was to have the three games having each one God of War from one of the pantheons, Greek, Norse, and Egypt, and at the end they were revealed to be the three wise men instead.
And the birth of Jesus Christ.
Like, David Jaffe is
Wow.
actually insane, and, this concept was insane, but I would have loved to see it.
I would have killed the franchise.
So yeah, here's Anubis actually taking her soul. Anubis is just there for a cameo. He's like, it's not even, I don't think he's even played by an actor, just voice acted like a bit, and he's like, here my paycheck.
I swear, Anubis gets done dirty in a lot of Egyptian media. Like, some people try to make him a bad guy when, like,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
no, that is not his deal. Or in other cases, underutilize him. Like, okay, Yu-Gi-Oh! I give a bit of a pass, since it's kind of implied he had gone insane and all
Not to
that
mention,
stuff.
Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't even bother to say he's a deity, rather just a powerful sorcerer, quote unquote.
So yeah, now we've got a ticking clock for the movie. Zaya making the final journey to the afterlife.
Wow, here's the afterlife waiting in line. Jesus,
If I recall
that's a scary
correctly,
perspective.
If I recall correctly, part of the problem is that her boyfriend and Horus need to procure some payment, since, with how Seth altered the afterlife. Now you gotta pay the toll. Wow, what a dick. Also, kind of an idiot, yeah.
Oh, give me the eye, dipshit. There you go. I forgot, did we mention who plays our street rat?
I
don't
mentioned
know.
him earlier, Brandon Flates.
Alright, let me see what else he's done. Oh god, it was Prince Philip in Maleficent.
Oh, no! Okay, the
2
sad thing
years
is
before
that-
this.
I guess the sad thing is that can at least have been considered a box office
The next
success.
year after this, he was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Salazar is a dead man and cannot tell any tales because he's as a revenge.
God, is this guy cursed?
Okay, I'll admit, to this day, I have not yet seen Pirates of the Caribbean 5, partially because I've heard so many horror stories of that film, I've seen some clips, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for that to be the last impression I have of one of my favorite characters in fictional media.
It also ends on a sequel
Us-
bait that is basically gonna go nowhere.
Like, Disney have been hemming and hawing with a Pirates of the Caribbean sequel. There was that thing with Margot Robbie, then that apparently got canned, and now supposedly Jerry Bruckheimer is trying to get the hatchet buried between Depp and Disney after Disney dropped him after that deal with Amber Heard and all that jazz, so who knows what's gonna happen.
I still need to see
Anyway.
the what's it called, the Jungle Cruise movie.
Okay, that was actually not bad. In fact, that said, everyone thought it was going to be the next franchise, but there hasn't been a sequel made since, which I don't get. From what I understand, it was positively received and it was a success, but
It was also
for
delayed
some reason,
multiple times
nothing.
because of the pandemic. I do remember the early the trailers during that. Also, giant scarab beetles.
Mm,
Whatever. Go, my scarab. I
okay,
know.
I'm just.
I look. I know
uh,
it's not him, but I keep thinking it's Russell Crowe in
all right,
Gladiator.
I'm just gonna say it right now. They are
CGI
clearly have.
coins.
I'm gonna say it right now. The director said, "Hey, Butler, you remember 300? Yeah, just do Leonidas for this scene." And I think that woman is Set's wife, who I mean, sorry, Osiris's wife,
Yes,
who now is to settle down with Set
we
because
as we as no, actually we didn't. We only talked about Horus's lover.
Hey,
Let's
look, it's
see.
Kai from Kung Fu Panda. Furry.
I don't remember who plays the ball guy. Uh, the wife of Osiris, Isis, yes, the same name, is played by Rachel Blake. I don't recognize. Oh no, wait, she was. Okay, no, I'm got confused with something else. Yeah, I don't recognize anything from her career, but she has done movies up until 2018, and a bit more on TV. Yeah, I think she's mostly an Australian, performer. Curses. So yeah, now it's basically a body trip between Beck and Horus in order to, find a way to kill Set.
Kill the desert! Yay!
Now in the original
I
myth,
guess his fate is set in stone.
ha. Now in the original myth, Horus basically had things a bit more smooth going for him up until his confrontation with Seth. That's where things get wild. Mostly because his mother, Isis, tended to give him a hand, although depending on the version, he gets a bit too carried out and chops her head off accidentally. Oops.
oops.
Which is a substitute with a cow head, and that's why Isis sometimes has that, figure going for.
So interestingly enough, since we talked about Horus's level beforehand, Hathor is like one of the few who actually doesn't have an animal motif going for her.
Mm-hmm.
The goddess of love, as it would.
Instead, now Horus wants to, have a chat with his grandfather, Ra, god of the sun, and consider him kinda like an old father figure, but not as much as Odin.
Mufasa, talk to me.
Yeah, if I
Now be
recall
careful,
correctly,
Icarus, before you fly too close to the sun.
yeah, if I recall correctly, sometimes Osiris does indeed become a different god based off of what happens before or after
Yes,
his death.
this is
In
just an
fact,
interpretation of how Ra performs his act. Again, one of the more ancient gods, and he's destined to fight a creature called Apophis, which is another part of the underworld. And here they imagine it in a particular way.
speaking of Pirates of the Caribbean, by the way,
We have Jeffrey
hey,
Rush
Jeffrey Rush.
as Ra.
Mhm.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Jeffrey Rush to bits. But what is he doing here as Raw? Like,
Money.
Yeah, let me check what he was doing around the same time, 2016. No, this was the only movie he was in 2016. In the year before, he was in The Daughter, Holding the Man, and the Minions movie as the narrator. I forgot about that.
yes.
While the year after was in Final Portrait and Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
And this is his super form.
Flame on, basically. Mostly because he's basically the god of the sun in this case, and has to fight Apophis for all eternity.
You know, the interesting
Also, the Earth
thing
is flat in this universe. I can imagine a lot of people might be very enthusiastic to see that.
I'm wondering if the reason they made his flame form like that is because, you know, Ra's usual form is, well, kind of a reflection of Horus's, to the point where sometimes they literally share the same illustrations.
The
and
Falcon
hieroglyphs.
head. This is also another interpretation of Apophis, because Apophis is usually just a relatively regular sized kind of snake. Here he's fucking Cthulhu. Okay,
Well, Apophis is very persistent.
I will say Azathoth more like, I guess, because Cthulhu has the tentacles.
Looks like a Dune worm.
Basically, this is what Ra kind of has to do every now and then, maintain
Every
his
day,
dark
basically,
entity.
yeah.
Okay, Jeffrey Rush, I need you to look angry at this blue screen here.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
just
we'll
pretend
edit
there
in
is
something
something,
very
yeah.
menacing. Look, okay, I'm not gonna be somebody who demonizes blue screen and CGI and whatnot. I do get that there's a time and place for it in this day and age. Oh, man, poor Ian McKellen. But still, though, I don't know. I feel like this movie is kind of overdoing it in some places. Or maybe it's just that the rendering isn't that great.
Yeah, as we established, it's pretty clear that this movie wastes the money in the way special effects are handled.
And, like, I'm sorry, if that money went to hiring some of these actors, well, congrats, you played yourself, given how the thing most people bring up is the whitewashing.
I think it was even marked by Honest Trailers, which had the final quote, Hollywood whitewashing. Why is it still a thing? Do whatever the fuck you want, basically.
Well, at least he's not forbidden for some arbitrary reason.
You can't drink it because fuck you.
Space water, my favorite.
Probably tastes very salty still, though.
Ambrosia, nectar of the gods. Lion King got it.
Duh.
Level up!
Wow, why didn't I think about that?
It really is
Wait,
like a Hamlet.
It's alright, just level up.
They really are trying to give it a Hamlet angle by saying, oh, the throne has been, in your grasp the entire time, you just need to believe in yourself, which, sure, there was some shade of that in the original method, but it was much more straightforward of a case of, Horus just needed to be prepared for war. He was relatively young before, when his father got killed.
I guess we can give it some credit. They're definitely taking a lot of dramatic license with it,
And
essentially.
like I said,
I think
we've
for a
seen that
start-
stuff in
okay.
out of Greek mythos, so, I don't mind
Right,
that.
okay, brah. For a start, I don't think Horus would go around killing his own people.
No. Don't you see, Dribs? Horus has to be careful to make sure he doesn't become like Set. Even though the worst we've seen Horus do is sleep with his girlfriend.
But Jova, if he kills him, he's just gonna be like him.
Right, yeah.
Ah.
You know, the weird thing is, they have this weirdly very human angle with the gods to the point where you have to wonder, are they even really gods, essentially? Like, okay, at most it just seems to be, if you have superpowers, you're a god.
They
boom,
bleed
but
the golden anchor as showcased during, Osiris killing. So yes,
I guess the thing is just that, well, aside
CGI.
coconut gun.
that, they don't really feel like gods among the mortals. Like, they seem to act a lot like the mortals. Maybe that's a bit of a nitpick, but I don't know. I guess I feel like, with them being the gods, they should feel much larger than life. To their credit, there will be, some scenes that do play into that more, but again, I feel like it may have just been a misuse of the effects, essentially, on where to use it here and there. Also, nice touch that Set is wearing a hat similar to how you often see Osiris wearing in hieroglyphics.
Your
Hello
heads up,
there.
your ex is coming.
What happened to you, babe? You used to be cool.
Hey, I'm still handsome. I'm Gerard Butler.
No, you've changed. You're ugly on the inside.
Clearly.
I'm sure this dialogue was very thought provoking in someone's mind while they were writing this.
Two peoples.
How
Remember,
do those guys keep getting?
same writers of Morbius and Balan Web. So yeah, here's part of the backstory: the fact that Seth was banished, and cursed to not have any heirs. Again, they're trying to making him a bit more sympathetic on why would have such a resentment, but I argue the end result is that everyone is an asshole in this pantheon.
Like, I don't know, maybe he might have spared you if you hadn't thrown that right in his face, honey.
And he chops her wing off like in Maleficent. Christ.
It's
I
become
gotta say, these gods
what?
are very easily defeated.
Compared to the Greek pantheon, Twibs, the Egyptian one tended to be not vulnerable, but prone to injury and killing.
Okay, in that case, maybe that's why they portray him as more human in a way then.
Fair enough.
Of course.
Whack.
Sorry, so lovely, many lovely people in this cast.
Oh boy, look, I get it. Gods can be dicks, but it feels weird that if anyone's been a dick to Horus, it's been the mere mortal.
Wow,
Like,
charming.
isn't that kind of God writing 101 that the gods are supposed to be the petty assholes?
Becoming unacceptable. What do you like being tossed around normally?
Maybe he's into it. Oh God!
Wow, I just got a flashback to Uwe Boll's House of the Dead movie. Thank you.
Like, and I'm sorry, that freeze frame. Oh Jesus Christ! I think I saw the keyframes around him over there for a bit. Jesus.
Also, I know they're trying to emulate rain effects because they're in a
Waterfall,
river.
yes.
Waterfall.
But it still is like the fact that it's daytime kind of ruins it.
Also, I hate to have to say this, but that freeze frame bout. Matrix did it better. Before the 2000s. Like, what are you doing, guys? And yeah, and by the way, this fight scene is terribly shot with those cuts.
Wow. Yeah.
Did we take here some Catwoman 2004 or something?
Clearly, the lack of the goddess Bast, demands a compensation.
Of course. Huh, that was easy.
Barely an inconvenience, we already did that, yes. Totally.
Okay, that line was actually a bit funny. If only...
Uh-oh.
Our hero, ladies and gentlemen, he got taken out by Killer Croc's method.
I threw a rock at him.
It was a big rock.
But guys, he's only got one working eye.
The best thing about this is that this conclusion sums up the whole scene. It was a waste of time when we could have just jumped out of the waterfall on their own.
Because yes, they will survive this. Okay, fair enough. But Jesus Christ, can we get out of the PS3 level now? I guess the idea is to show that, Horus is getting his groove back, but he still is taking his time. Back.
Was your girlfriend call?
Did this
Somehow
come
I
out?
knew that.
When did Patty Number 9 come out again?
2016.
Same year.
Same year as
Same
this
year as
movie.
this.
This does not plead Leonidas, I mean Set.
I read the script.
Basically.
What a nice guy.
Shank.
There you go, your problem solved. Yeah. Oh, but we don't have time to go to the bed. Not like that this time.
I like to say more in a more specific manner.
Dead with your wings ripped off.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. I guess it's a bit unclear, but I think they're hinting that gods aren't exactly immortal in this universe. Like, they can get old and wither, I guess. If
Well, remember,
Osiris
in
and
the,
Ra are
in the
anything to
original
go
myth,
by.
even in the original myth, both Osiris and Set actually do get killed.
No. I mean, in the sense that, like, they're not even immortal in the sense that as long as nobody kills them, they don't die. Like, if I recall correctly, at least in some cases, they can get old and die of natural age. Maybe longer than humans, but still.
Also, yes, Dej, I know that it's a bit late to say that, but this movie also involves the cock arc with Seth stealing Horus GF.
You know, I
Like-
should really make a letterbox account, and I'll playlist this list of movies that does have a cuck arc.
Oh, you can do that on Letterboxd?
Yeah, you can make
I'm
playlists.
surprised.
Fun fact: this movie was ghostwritten by Paul Heyman.
So yeah, it turns out Half Four has a way of communicating with her old squeeze.
Okay, no, it wasn't.
Oops.
Busted. You're kind of an idiot, admittedly. I cannot agree with Seth.
Like, you did that out in the open where he could easily sneak up on you. Right. Never mind the fact that you begged for his life and, him being left alive is, the reason you even got together with Set. No. You totally would forgive Set if he killed Horus.
But he doesn't believe it.
I mean, the one thing that I would give to this movie is that they make Seth a relatively competent villain.
I still dock him points for making Horus's eye that easy to get, though.
That is true, admittedly. I love the way she got the train taken into the portal. It's almost that way that Idris Elba's character was snapping away people in the Cats movie. McCavity.
God, this is so bad.
Well done.
Can we not do that again, please?
I just... Hey, look, I get it. The deserts of Egypt were probably always going to be a tough movie to shoot. Also, if she could do that, why didn't she do that ages ago?
Maybe she
I
thought
mean,
that
it is
she
a
was...
bit risky because
Yeah, the demons and all.
Still, like, it's, maybe it was horrendous for her, but the way the movie shoots it, it seems like she really could have just
Should have
done
tried.
that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, maybe it was literally a case of a last resort, and she decided it was the time to do it.
Yeah,
And I suppose to be fair, now that she sees that Horus is back in action, she probably figured now was the time.
Let me check. I forgot.
And here's Osiris and
Why does he look
Isis.
like Shaggy?
He's like an
God,
older
can you-
version of
Matthew
Matthew
Lillard.
Lillard.
Can you imagine Matthew Lillard as the father of this actor? Okay, I'll admit I'm not too familiar with Horus's actor,
Remember, Job, Jamie Lannister in Game of Thrones.
but aside from that, though, like,
All right, let me check his filmography again.
I guess to be fair, Game of Thrones still at the time was like the in thing.
He was one of the minor characters in Black Hawk Down in 2001.
So there's this interesting perspective thing. Like, sometimes the gods next to humans appear bigger than them. Other times they don't. I do wonder if that's
Your size may
intentional
vary.
or if...
The idea behind is that they wanted to make the gods bigger than the mortals, yes.
The problem is just they aren't always consistent with it,
Yeah.
which, hey, maybe I can just chalk up to the dodgy effects.
Okay, Nikolai Coster-Waldau was in the 90s play of Hamlet as Laertes, so he's literally a Shakespearean actor. Also, he was in Macbeth in 2020. He has done movies since 1994 and he's still doing to this day, but oh god, he was an uncredited cameo as a pizza delivery guy in The Flash 2023.
Goodness gracious.
But
So-
but he's mostly known as Jamie Lannister these days.
Pretty much. So, are these two supposed to be any particular figures from Egyptian mythology?
Not that I really know. Let me check.
Okay, I will say this. These snakes aren't the worst looking things, if only because the movie's, more obvious with the fact that they're supposed to be unnatural. What again doesn't help is that things do not blend well with the CGI backgrounds. Like, I'm sorry. What was up? What was going on with the cinematographer for these scenes? Like,
they're respectively Astarte and Anat, deities attached to the sun in minor capacity and war.
Oh, but they're snake themed here for some reason.
Played effectively by Yara Deng and Abby Lee,
who are definitely hamming it up when they can.
Oh, Abby Lee was a minor character in Mad Max Fury Road the year before this. The year after this, she was in the Dark Tower movie. Poor soul. Attack the weak point for massive damage.
I don't know, but they must, right? You'd think as, literally the son of Osiris, you would have better know-how on how this stuff works, Horus. Or were you too busy getting drunk and sexed at the time? Which I guess, maybe the idea is that this is supposed to be a story of Horus learning humility and learning the true responsibilities.
Learning how to become basically a ruler god like his father, yeah.
Lion King. Yes, I know Amlet, but holy cow, do I get Lion King vibes right up from, of course, the son who has to learn his lessons, go on an arduous quest, then come back to defeat his uncle. I don't know. Him not being able to fly doesn't seem to be doing him as bad as it's doing you. Bye!
Literally the ending of the first Tremors movie.
The world? I haven't seen Trevor's.
One day, Dad, I'll show you.
I'm sure the gods won't mind losing that temple.
To be fair, it was already
actually, is that what that's one SpongeBob episode was referencing with the worm?
The Alaskan bullworm, to an extent.
Yeah.
Slow
walk. Oh, right, I forgot this tidbit. Horus and Hathor have some lovers' tension. Goddess of love and all that. Get it? It's the snake getting hypnotized for once instead of the other way around.
She literally said to the snake, you should warm yourself now.
Yes, the power of love compels you to commit suicide.
By self-immolation. What the fuck?
And yet the other warrior doesn't think, oh, maybe I should jump off my snake. No, it's just, nah, I'm gonna burn and explode with it. Holy cow, that is lame. Again, and this brings me to another core problem with this movie. A lot, and I do mean a lot of the action is not as awesome as it should be, because it's either dealt with way easier than it ought to be, or it just needs to come up with the most dumb way to end.
We really try to make things epic in scope, similar to what you think of Clash of the Titans, but again, the combination of the misused special effects and the questionable writing, do not help.
Like, hey, how do we end the fight with the bull god? Have him literally hit Horus on the back with his head with a rock. Oh, how do we end this fight? We'll make it so that one of the warriors, who's supposedly some of Set's most competent ones, just stands there and lets herself get burned and blown up. Genius.
I still need
Like,
to see properly The Last Witch Hunter, and it's been way too long since I saw Dracula Untold, so I don't have the entire repertoire of these writers. But again, from the people who wrote, Morbius, now Madame Web is a bit more tricky because thanks to interviews and other stuff, we now know for a fact that the movie that we got was not at all the movie that they envisioned originally. But still, the pedigree of these writers is still not that optimal.
I'm just gonna say it. Like, it's a shame that Madame Web may not have turned out the way they wanted, but all their previous stuff doesn't exactly paint them a pretty picture.
No.
And I'm sorry, Madame Web deserves to get ridiculed, despite how it might hurt
Speaking
some feelings.
of which, since Madame Web won the Razzies in 2024, this actually was nominated for 5 awards at the Razzies that year, specifically Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Actor, Worst Screen Combo, and Worst Screenplay. But I think at that point, I forgot who won that year. Let me check. This was 2016. Oh no. The movie that won that year was a political documentary, which I would not tell you what it is. Gods of Egypt did not win a single Razzie despite being nominated. Okay, for most of these categories I get, but okay. For the worst screen combo, which for this movie was any 2 Egyptian gods or mortals in this movie, they lost to Ben Affleck and his BFF, baddest foe forever, Henry Cavill in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Oof.
Same goes for the screenplay, which I don't know, like. That's the thing. This movie is very stupid, but I still enjoyed it to some degree. While Batman v Superman is still technically bad, but it's arguably something that I do not enjoy even witnessing, even making fun of. So
Yeah, it's just a boring movie. My take is that I feel like the Razzies really shouldn't be a thing at all.
I just think they need better, wisdom and all. But the concept is fine. The Stinkers were a good competitor for a while, but they kind of stopped.
Honestly, I do agree more so that, yes, there is a place in the world for the Razzies, especially if there's a
I need
place
to
in the world
mention
for
this.
the...
So, as mentioned, Chadwick Boseman, the god Thoth, god of wisdom and knowledge. So how is it represented? His house is literally basically a gigantic library envisioned almost like a computer, where Thoth has infinite copies of himself, gathering knowledge, and it's portrayed as borderline, being on the spectrum. It's bizarre, nonsensical, and potentially hilarious, but I'm more questioning this.
Of course, the one god who actually looks like he might be able to come from Egypt is more the comic relief of the gods.
But it is Hollywood, so
I legit wonder, like, okay, if I recall correctly, I believe it was at this point where Chadwick Boseman sadly had cancer. He was definitely doing his best
He
to make
mentioned
his
in
mark.
interviews that he regrets doing this movie, and the only reason he accepted because he wanted to, increase the percentage of, people of African ethnicity in the movie.
Which, you know what?
Noble
That's a noble
effort,
endeavor, but
I think he's still wasted.
yeah, he really is. Like, Chadwick, you were sadly on borrowed time. You were taken from us way too soon. But aside from this, almost every role he picked was with the best of purposes, from Jackie Robinson to Thurgood Marshall to even his last film, Ma Good, I think it was. The point is like, well, Chadwick Boseman is so wasted in this movie, and like, I mean, yes, it was a noble effort. He wanted to actually, make this movie not seem completely whitewashed, but honestly, I'll be honest, him not being in it probably would have just been the perfect completion of crap for this movie. Because otherwise, it feels like he's like the one sole good thing in a sea of crap. Well, okay, him and Gerard Butler, but that is strictly because Gerard Butler works for this role, and I really do feel like it's Gerard Butler basically just being evil Leonidas.
I love that scene from before. The writing team and the director said, "Okay, Nikolai, want you to aggressively grab Chadwick, toss away the salve that he's wearing, that he's having in his hand, and yell, 'It's lettuce.'"
Jeez. Comedy!
I do love this.
All right, I feel like I missed something, but why does everyone look like Chadwick?
That's the representation that this movie wants to have of his powers of wisdom and
I
knowledge.
do love this bit, actually.
I mean,
even his clones are like, is he for real?
basically that's an efficient way to gather knowledge for him. That's it.
So hey, at least now we got Chadwick Boseman along for the ride. I'm sure that the movie will definitely use him well and not cast him aside way too early.
That's also the thing. To be honest, even in the mythology, Toad is kind of there to be not the cheerleader, but a very minor supporting role. He helps, reconstructing the body of Osiris, and other than that, he's there to basically be the one that you have to invoke if you're actually, researching knowledge about something and you need, an eureka moment.
Okay, with the goddess of love, when she can command anyone, any man or woman to do it unless they're in love. What if someone's actually in love with her? Would that work on her?
Don't think about it. Go on, Drew.
No. I'm just saying. Would it?
I don't know about that.
Well, too bad, because she only has eyes for Horus.
Again, if we go deep into this rabbit hole, we jump into the whole, brainwashing, hypnosis, and all degrees of non-consensuality, and I don't think it's really appropriate.
Like someone is genuinely in love with her, and she can't command them because, I'm in love. I'm in love with you. That's why.
Dads, don't bother asking questions that the movie is not interested in answering.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it turns out we have a liar reveal plot. As Haffer pointed out, Anubis can't bring a human back from life, essentially, since Beck was convinced by Horus that if he helps Horus, they can, help get enough power for Anubis to bring his lover back from the dead. But as Haffer pointed out, Anubis can't do that. So yeah.
Again, the purpose of... Again, she's a multi-layered tool. Killing her is also serves to artificially make a conflict for something that shouldn't even exist. Christ.
And it's everyone's favorite, the liar revealed plot, which, okay, look, goes without saying. Just because you have a trope, don't mean it's automatically bad. It's a tool, essentially. The problem is, the amount of times you see a liar revealed plot, you can just feel the cringe approaching with how it's going to be handled, essentially. Because more often than not, it leads down that road. I forget how it was handled in this one, so maybe it's better than I remember, but
you'll see.
Even if it does manage it good, thank goodness for small favors, because
and like you said, for these cases, usually at best, we just get our time wasted because the movie has to catch up with information that the player knows and you just want to get over with.
Speaking of wasting our time, we finally have our full party of Beck, Toph, Hathor, and Horus, and it took us over halfway through the movie to get them together, essentially.
Hashtag relationship goals. Find yourself that love you the way she loves Horus because he killed 42 demons.
Aww.
You don't think I'm trying, Taya?
Seems to me that you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah,
Dej.
you're right. I'm not.
Look, Dej, it's simple. You find yourself a fair maiden who's being trapped by demons, fight the demons without getting killed, and then there you go. She knows you're the one.
Actually, I forgot. Did we mention who Zaya is played by? Let me see. Yeah, Courtney Eaton.
Can't say I recall that name.
This was early in her career. The year before, she was also in Mad Max Fury Road. This has not killed her career. She has been doing stuff to this very day, including a main role in the series Yellow Jackets.
Well, good for her.
Yeah, enough. Get back in the queue.
Kind of making me look bad by breaking the rules there.
But one of the pie people,
Shut up! Getting the fucking voted waves.
Look, the rules don't apply to the gods. You should have gotten that by
Also,
now.
why does this girl have a thing for Beck? Because he kind of seems like a douche.
Well, don't you see? They're in love.
The noble.
Why?
The dashing rogue charisma Edge. I don't know what to tell you.
You see, the idea is like, well, he's humble. He comes from humble beginnings, and he does what he does for what's right, essentially. Since, to his credit, he did steal Horus's eye before she was dead, so it's implied that deep down he does want to do what's right. It's just that he only becomes cold and heartless after she dies, because then that's all he can focus on is her.
Also, yeah, he's legendary despite all of these.
Yeah, like, Set has literally gone on to say no mere mortal can get through this. Okay, I get it. We don't always have to make it so that there's a big super reason why a mortal can do it, but nah, it really just seems to imply he can do all of his stuff just because he's that good. Like,
in case you're wondering, unlike the Greek mythos, the Egyptian mythos do not really have Perseus or Hercules equivalent. Well, not necessarily Hercules, but say Perseus or Jason and the Argonauts, where a mere mortal can accomplish incredible feats and be rewarded, potentially becoming a demigod if they behave hard enough. No, it's more of a case where it's just a case where the pharaoh, the central government, the leading government, is treated as the reincarnation of Horus.
Okay, I do like that line. I find your reliance on chance to be troubling. Because, yeah, he just summed it up. He really just has an insane amount of luck. Like, okay, at least with Aladdin felt like he had luck, but mixed with actual cunning, essentially.
He was also the chosen one because the King of Wonders decided that. Anyway,
and here's the
classic Sphinx riddle. Alright, let's see if Todd can actually answer this.
That is the riddle.
So, who plays the Sphinx here?
Is that a shadow?
I forgot actually the answer, but I thought it was time.
Whoops!
Wrong.
Ain't that cute? But it's wrong!
Yeah, that's the thing. Despite this guy supposedly being the god of wisdom, it will take him multiple guesses to get the riddle.
To be fair, he also has a huge ego.
I guess the thing is, though... Okay, here's the thing, though. If you don't show him being, like, super smart, then what was really the point of bringing him along?
Because you need the comedic black man. Sorry.
Kenneth Ransom voices this has the motion capturing voice of the Sphinx. Was in all the TV series and movies. Not the time. You're not Winnie Pooh. What the fuck? And yeah, the writers of a Morbius movie were like, and then the Sphinx answer to the riddle being solved. Oh bother, genius. Where's my Oscar?
Okay, I know it was supposed to look cool, but I'm sorry. The Sphinx constantly crumbling just looked more annoying visually to
It
me.
feels like it should have started crumbling when they were close to get the riddle right.
Up.
God damn
You
it.
people suck at this. What does it say that these traps have been better at catching the gods than the mortals? And yeah, there you go.
He literally stole his brain.
And there's Chadwick done. Bye.
So this guy just steals body parts, huh?
Pretty
Yes.
much. It's treating
Okay.
also the fact that the gods are receive their powers thanks to these magical body parts. It's kind of a bit like the Millennium items in the Yu-Gi-Oh mythos. Oh no.
Oh, right in time for the liar reveal.
The worst kind, the one case where the villain uses that to their advantage, or is in his case.
Or don't listen to the bad guy and, pour it. Oops, yeah, hesitation.
No, not the magic piece.
I was about to say.
It's a good thing I brought a sphere.
Why don't you try and conscript him to your side? You've seen that this mortal is very
Because he
capable.
doesn't care about mortals. It's pretty clear that Seth just wants to be a dictator.
Again, villain ball. Like, yes, you're a dictator, but at least give them the illusion that you care so that, something doesn't end up screwing you over at the last minute. Why didn't you do that before?
For the record, I could have done that anytime.
You see? Okay, I swear, a lot of the characters in this movie are idiots.
The only reason this film could have a story.
Like, I hate to say it, but yeah, Seth's like the smartest character in the movie. And mind you, he has dumb moments himself, but he seems to be the only one who's actually opportunistic and realizes the need for such. Unless the idea is supposed to be that Horus was bluffing about Seth fighting him, which I don't get the feeling he was. Second act breakup time.
Okay, we need to have a movie that has the second act breakup. However, it's not because of a conflict. It's more like, okay, we have to split up in order to do our things. But the movie established that they're stronger together, but the circumstances has to force them to be separated.
Well, actually, if you wanna, consider all three movies or books in their case part of the same story, Lord of the Rings.
Damn it!
Always
Okay.
You kind of had that because Sam and Frodo had a fight.
No, that's in the movie. I was talking more about the case of at the beginning of Return of the King, where Merry and Pippin need to split for different reasons. Again,
Alright,
always
Dej.
bet on Tolkien.
Alright, Dej, are you ready for a literal Deus Ex Machina?
I mean, it's not a Deus Ex Machina, to be fair. That would imply it came out of nowhere.
I mean, this kind of does.
All Yeah, no, she did not really need to cave into the whining of this guy. Like, sure, he has been useful,
Yeah.
but he has been particularly selfish. Yes, Horus should have not lied to him, but good God.
So it doesn't work like that. That's why.
Look, it's nice that you gods actually seem to care about mortals, but do you think maybe you're caring a little too much? Like, not for nothing, honey, but maybe we could use your help first, for defeating Set.
Again, we commented it for Halloween on the Book of the Dead, the Book of Life, sorry, the Book of Life. The La Muerte knew how to actually, have love for mankind but not be stupid about it. Well, outside of her gambling problem, but what can you do about it?
Well, there you go. Both Chadwick and I forget the actress's name of half her.
Uh, Elodie Jung, as Dej also told, she played Elektra in the Disney, Marvel series.
And she
Yeah.
was also Jinx in G.I. Joe Retaliation.
I know that I'm not saying that that controversial of a statement, but she's a much better Elektra than Jennifer Garner. I know, right?
Well, well, yeah,
I know.
but Jennifer Gardner was really attractive. So,
I
and she
don't.
did do a good
And
job in Wolverine and Deadpool.
Deadpool Wolverine, yeah, to be
Yeah.
fair.
And had the
Wait.
funniest joke in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Still on cue. Okay, Jova, you're the theme park expert here. Which attraction would you compare this to stay in a queue for this fucking long?
Hmm. Oh God, I feel like there was a Curse of the Mummy at Universal Studios.
How appropriate. Yeah, again, to be fair, in this case, it's Seth who has twisted the rules about it. But otherwise, under quote unquote normal circumstances, you are judged by the purity of your heart or soul. Essentially, it's
But
the
here
whole
it's
be a good person in life, otherwise you get fucked. But in this case, capitalism.
Yeah. So normally the deal is supposed to be again, good or bad, but remember, after Set changed the rules, you need to have some money.
And instead of
Which
being
shows
thrown
that
into a beast to be fed, she just becomes dust in the wind.
I think it's implied that they're added to that dark beast that Raw's fighting.
Apophis, it would be consistent with the fact that Apophis is one of the, dwellers of the underworld. Your mom.
what, these two
Ta-da!
guys. What?
Right on time.
I thought the living couldn't talk with the dead.
Not to mention, these guys keep the entire line. Whoa. That's like
can't
deep,
touch.
man. This is not
Yes.
Casper. What the fuck are you doing?
Yes.
Can I keep her?
No. Nephthys, the woman that Seth tore her wings out of, that we saw before, she's played by Emma Booth.
Yep, because get this, Set is made an armor out of all the gods' parts.
With
It's
all your
almost
powers combined.
You could say he's like an Iron Man or
Like
something.
an
No.
evil Captain Planet, pretty much.
Oh, get this, Jova. Emma Booth, I checked her career and she has done stuff up until 2023. But I don't recognize almost anything outside of this movie, except she apparently played Eloise Gardner in Once Upon a Time. As in the identity that Mother Gothel got.
Interesting. I will admit, that was pretty metal to literally have himself have to be heated and cooled while in the armor.
Meanwhile,
Oh yeah, Jeffrey Rush is in this movie.
gonna need to, show him on screen, huh?
Just holding out as best I can until Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
That's not gonna be much of an improvement.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeffrey Ruff, as usual, has some class there. Daddy, I just want you to love me. Because you've got that Lucifer thing going on set, you're too evil.
And in case you're wondering, as far as we know, when it comes to Egyptology and mythology alone, this is not really a case of where his role was demonified, by easing up on pre-existing pagan, mythology similar to what happened to Hades, for example. No, Seth was clearly depicted as an usurping, bad guy since the beginning.
So yeah, his brother gets all the the power of Egypt, while he got cast out into a desert,
Sucks to be you.
and he could even bear children.
Oh?
Yeah, I gotta say, he got a pretty rough deal. He did all that, and just to have to sit on a boat for the rest of his life and fight some giant worm monster.
So yeah, there you go. Basically, gods can still die from old age,
At least in this
essentially.
version. Which again, it's partially consistent with Legend of Hercules to an extent. So weird.
Do you think maybe if both of those movies had been successful, that they would have eventually succumbed to the connected universe craze and
Lionsgate
made them all
doesn't
part of the
really tend to
cinematic
do
universes?
that most of the time. Otherwise, we
Yeah,
would have already.
like I said, to be honest, I do kind of feel a little bit for Set here, because his brother got all the good stuff. All he got was being sterilized in a desert.
If I recall correctly, though, that's kind of more so a consequence of his actions.
At least in the original mythos. I don't remember the exact details.
Like, yeah, one could maybe argue that punishing him to that degree wasn't the best for his
Hey, yeah, you
redemption overall.
just doomed the world, right? Because your dad has to keep fighting that one beast.
It's pretty much established that he doesn't care.
Oh no! He cast him out.
And then he comes back as Egyptian Phoenix.
Yes. Meanwhile,
Oh my god.
it won't matter. Like, I mean, if you don't use that, then
Especially
you're just
because
going to be toast.
now things are, going awry. Actually, you got the quote wrong, Anubis. It's Chaos Reigns.
Yep, turns out Apophis
Oh
is about
man,
to...
now we have to deal with Havoc. $50 for this shit. Wait.
And yep, here comes Apophis.
He
Oh
lied
no,
to
he
me.
lied to
He
you.
shot at me. He hates me.
Also, oh no,
Enemy. God,
oh
what a
no.
stupid song.
Yes, Jova?
It's like, oh no, he lied to you. It's not like he's our only hope right now.
Like, Beck is the kind of guy that would rather see the world turn to ash than, actually, help that because, he believes about that betrayal. Like, under
And
normal
keep in mind,
circumstances, I will actually be amused by that kind of bravery and stupidity, but not for this guy, sorry.
keep in mind also, the only reason he lied was because Beck was being an asshole to begin with, essentially.
It's all about the greater good.
The greater good.
Great, good.
This is so sappy.
So yeah, the climax, if I recall correctly, will be around the giant penis obelisk.
Wow, the latest Mortal Kombat game looks weird.
I mean, to be fair, his Set's respect for his dad probably fell off a bit when he decided, hey, you know what? Your brother's gonna get all the good shit. Here, sterilization and desert. Bye.
I love how
So it
Pop is
seems-
just like that.
So it seems that Set is setting Apophis on the Orf.
I guess his idea is that he wants to try to kill it permanently in one fell swoop because now he has all the powers combined. I guess having Todd's brain did not really improve things.
Okay.
Oh, so you can bore yourselves to death instead.
You know, I will say this, though. Given that Ra's speech implies that everything that happened to Set was part of a test and whatnot, maybe it wasn't the best test to pretty much put your son to his flipping limits to the point where it might drive him insane and, doom the world, Dad. I guess...
Well, I needed to take my place sitting on a boat.
And you couldn't think to just train him? Maybe take the boy literally fishing on your boat? Like, nah, cast him out into the desert, sterilize him and whatnot. That'll help him build character.
Yeah, that's my point. Ra is an idiot.
In case you're wondering how much a cubit is, raise one of your arms, it's from your elbow till the point of your fingers, usually.
It took 5,930 slaves. Had to hit him with the dead girlfriend jab there.
So that's literally what they're doing. She serves only this purpose to be a major plot point.
She's here to be dead, pretty much.
I'll admit, the only
Yeah.
reason I'm not as pissed off about her death is the fact that I barely got to know her before she died.
That's also reinforcing that. She serves the plot only for that purpose, to the fact that she died and she serves to actually motivate the other. I will give some...
Uncle Ben syndrome.
Kinda, yeah, I said, but this was 2016, we're still doing this shit. I will give some minor credit. John Wick starts with that, and yes, it is basically the main driving force, but at the very least, it's not, went dwell quickly, and the rest of the conflict, it's a snowballing out of the choices that John does rather than influenced by her death. Again, I'm still pondering if we're gonna get in a sequel, the fact that she's still alive and she's the one who orchestrated everything to give a purpose to her husband.
So yeah, gotta give Beck his own fight scene since,
Against
let's be
the
honest,
father of her lover.
I guess to give him credit, at least they're not having Beck be so awesome that he's the one who defeats Seth. Like,
Yeah, then instead is Ash Ketchum syndrome.
no. Like, that's worse than Ash Ketchum. Ash Ketchum, I can at least buy when he pulls off stuff, and even still, later Pokemon movies toned down with having him be the sole factor and whatnot, but having Beck be the one who defeats Seth would have just been absolute character wanking to the nth degree. And I guess to show that Beck truly is that special.
Yeah, you thought you were not noticed. Madness. This is Egypt!
Like, come on! Like, there's no way.
And wait,
No
you could
way they did.
you could understand him killing your father for a crown. What?
But yeah, no, I'm almost surprised they didn't have him shout something like, "This is Sparta," after him saying, "This is madness." Like, no, you will never convince me that they did not intentionally put in a line, "This is madness," opposite of
That
Gerard
would be
Butler
clever
character.
and too much potentially for these writers.
Alas, like, shoot, that would be a time where a reference would be okay. Yeah. Sorry,
Wait,
dude.
That's a weak
Awesome
one-liner.
one-liner. Jesus.
Wah, wah, wah.
Why is so much about this movie just so lame? It shouldn't be this
I
hard.
can't draw about the writers of Morbius.
Morbius and
And yet
and-
somehow okay, I have to wonder, is there blackmail involved that just keeps getting them work? And
I don't know. They really must have some dirt going around, especially because it's for different companies. Remember, Dracula Untold was Universal. Last Witch Hunter I forgot. Let me see. Last Witch Hunter was also Lionsgate. Gods of Egypt
Oh
was also
god, here we go.
Lionsgate.
Okay, to his credit, he legit goes super form just to pummel the mortal.
And
Who
allows him to
easily
steal
takes
the eye.
What?
He's just that good.
Seth, you were supposed to be the smart character in this plot.
Whee! Also, this was also Lionsgate. The Power Ranger movie was also Lionsgate. And Morbius and Madame Web were Sony.
Man, I cannot wait till
But
we watch
look at
Power
that!
Rangers movie.
Horus nobly goes and rescues Beck instead of his eye.
Because that's the power of I learned something today, I guess.
Never mind the fact that if he doesn't beat Seth, the world may be doomed anyway, so, yeah.
Yeah. And Seth decides to kill them in the slowest way possible so it creates more tension.
Somebody's turning into a Bond villain. But don't worry, conveniently it spreads across them. Okay?
Whee! So yeah, here's the twist. I think we're gonna even spell it. Turns out Horus did not need both of his eyes. He just needed to believe hard enough to transform. Again, I get that it's part of his story arc, the fact that he needs to learn how to be a better ruler and to, well, again, believe in himself. But my Jesus, that's not it. Turns out the true I was the friends you murdered along the way.
I don't like this. Is whatever.
From what?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not even angry. I just don't. I'm not in the mood to do my usual bit of trying to explain this. So like whatever.
But guys, it turns out Beck may actually be dying after all.
The,
Oh
which
no!
yeah,
Anyway,
I was going to say good because the sooner we can get your head away from that really terrible job of being pasted onto that CGI body, the better.
Like, seriously, look at the background, too. Like, I guess I can say this one looks more PS4 than PS3, but still.
I will say early PS4 era, stuff like the trailer for Deep Down.
Okay, I will say this does look like it could make for a cool theme park ride at Universal. Shame that this isn't owned by them, but to be fair, it wouldn't be the first time Universal has done a ride based off of a film they don't own.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to say it's not the first time they've done a ride based on a film that flopped.
So, I think it's a good time to mention this. Nedra, do you want to know how Seth is defeated in the original myth?
How?
Okay. How can I put this in a way that doesn't sound horrible and non-safe for work? The Egyptians consider semen a potent and dangerous substance. So, first, Seth sexually assaults Horus, but then Horus gets revenge by poisoning something to Seth with his semen.
Yes. He literally defeats him with his cum.
But I guess they can't do that here, so
They don't want to see Geralt Butler sexually assaulting someone, please.
Look at him.
Okay.
Isn't it amazing learning something
This is
new
the
every
weirdest
day,
Metal
Ned?
Gear movie I've ever seen.
I know, right? When did you ever think that? It was never established that you had some great admiration for Set before. Okay,
Fair enough.
kudos to their credit. They don't pull the whole "I'm not like you." Like, nah, it's like, if anything, I'm not like you because I know not to spare you.
yeah, you'll probably just kill everybody again.
But don't worry, Ra's okay still. He was just sleeping.
He's taking a sweet time falling down, isn't he?
Yeah, might as well deal with Apophis now.
Hey, that's so mean. That's my physical appearance.
Well, back from whence you came, fatso.
Man, this Skyward Sword boss is so lame.
So, if anything, reminds me of a bit of Gleog in Tears of the Kingdom.
So
Hey,
wait. Skyward Sword's final boss is Jeffrey Rush coming down suddenly.
I mean, Demise kind of
I mean,
looks
Bruce
a bit...
can technically be a god if you want to think about it.
Also, Demise kind of has a bit of his facial features. He's just more bulky.
Who the hell are they going to cast in that movie to play Ganondorf?
Garrett Butler would work out, admittedly.
and hey, look, he still gets his other eye at least.
Well, I mean, so far the Zelda movie doesn't have a lot of star power at the moment, so
We'll see.
You're getting Keith David.
That wouldn't be too bad. Maybe it's a thing that they CGI the character, but he's voiced by Keith David.
I can finally see clearly now. I
Thank
now
you,
know that
child.
Ganondorf, voiced by Seth
Thank you.
Rogen.
I am your white savior.
God, literally.
In 2016, we were still doing
I mean, I guess,
I'm sorry.
I guess we should be glad, but at least no one was in blackface, as far as we know.
Yeah.
like, that's sadly the other end of that problem. Like, look. Oh yeah, by the way, Beck's dead.
Oh no. Anyway,
I love it! The show on Lannister's face isn't even that absurd. It's more like,
that
It's
happened.
like, oh shit, I forgot.
well, might as well lay him to rest next to his girlfriend.
Whose body should probably smell rotten by now, but because she wasn't mummified.
They look gorgeous together.
How did he even die?
Remember,
it
He
was,
I think during his fight.
yeah, it
he
was
got
blasted
stabbed and
multiple
also
times.
and also the impact from the fall too. Even if
With what we've seen of him at this point, if that feels more like a minor inconvenience.
Also, did somebody order more Deus Ex Machina?
So remember how it's been established that like no god could bring a mortal back from the dead? Well, here's Ra to come in and say, well, nuts to that, I do what I want.
Let them come?
Oh, but look, Horus doesn't want anything except for what's impossible. He just wants his friends back.
Oh,
Beck
Noble.
and that girl.
Nice of him.
Now, to be fair,
And
I
that
guess
girly barely.
it's a bit better for, noble intention than to say that he had a family, like a child that he was caring so much about. So,
And yes, Beck's alive again. Hooray!
What about his girlfriend? Yeah, for a second there, I thought he forgot to bring her back from the
and then
dead.
we cut to Anubis angrily shaking his fist, a cheater! That's Horus. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Wait, impossible? Yes. Well, I love it. He just says impossible, yes, but it happened.
Remember, Joe, that one lining said, we live to make the impossible possible. That is our focus.
Right. Alright, now, my first act, that whole you have to buy your way into the afterlife thing, gone.
Yes. Shame Halfor's still dead.
There's Toph still there.
He looks like he's posing for a soundtrack with that
Or a
costume and
perfume
angle.
commercial.
He's about to drop the hottest album of the year.
Yes, he brought all the other gods back to life that Seth killed too.
Yeah, Chadwick. I don't think the accent's really helping your performance here.
Don't worry,
don't
kids.
Worry,
Civil War will come out soon.
Yeah, he's the best part about that movie.
Yes, he is.
Praise be.
Yeah, no, literally the only person not alive still is Halfor, which, kind of feels like, why not fix that as well while we're at it? Which he will, but, why not just have her be back already?
Yeah, okay. So he got rid of that whole you have to buy your way into the afterlife thing.
Yeah.
You have to basically be good.
Which is pretty much how it was meant to be. Oh my god, they literally look CGI'd into that background.
Yeah, the green screen is terrible indeed. I even had to admit that.
Look, CGI, blue screen, or green screen, I'm used to that, but I'm not used to it looking so apparent in a 2016 movie. I'm sorry.
Excuse
His
me.
capable hands.
We're
What?
screwed.
Remember, he's the royal advisor to the king.
basically he's going to go rescue Hathor, and I'm like,
I don't
dude, just
think
have
this
her
was
be
a sequel.
back.
I don't think this was supposed to be a sequel bait, just the way the movie ends. Because honestly, I don't really think they intended this to be a proper franchise.
Probably for the best, because
Guys, I'm gonna say something insane.
what?
I think Black Adam was better than this.
Black
Wow.
Adam?
So yeah, I don't think
Okay.
I don't really. There's no
Keyword think.
There's no post-credit scene, so Horus will not be invited to the John Wick initiative.
So what you're saying is Henry Cavill Superman doesn't come and try to challenge him to a fight?
No. I think you mean Gal Gadot doesn't come in and bring Hathor back from the dead, showing up with her theme at a funeral.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up,
What's she gonna do? Sing Imagine and hope we'll come back to life?
Let's moving swiftly on. Final thoughts, Dweebs.
Okay, yes, it's by all accounts it's a terrible movie. The CGI looks about 15 years behind the times. The acting from most of the cast is rather ropey. The script is a complete mess, while also being it just strikes me as being a bit low effort, to be honest.
It really feels like they just thought, guys, let's just shoot it like it's a Marvel Cinematic Universe flick with gods doing superhero things, and we'll think of the script later.
And yeah, but the script probably didn't help the actors' performance to tie those 2 points together. Honestly, I mean, the music is okay. It's got a decent main theme from Marco Beltrami. Chadwick Boseman, his weird choice of accent does actually kind of help make his character a bit more memorable.
I don't know how much of that was his choice or just what he was directed to sound like.
Possibly a bit of both, I don't know. Gerard Butler is the best actor in the whole movie. I mean, I did kind of feel a little bit for Seth because he got dealt a really shitty hand. Yeah, I know. The most sympathetic character in this movie is the villain. Yeah, but when your heroes are either just a fallen god who's a mopey git, a thief, and the other woman in the movie.
Oh, I didn't say that the execution was always good, but
I think that's why the execution was better in the Disney's Hercules movie because again Hades was also given a shitty job to work with, and while that did not justify his desire for conquest, there was a slight sympathetic angle, but the elements of the movie worked so that you could understand that he was still firmly trenched as an unrepenting bad guy that needed to be stopped.
the key point is he had charisma that also helped you somewhat sympathize with him, at least. Whereas, Seth here just feels arguably more sympathetic, if only because a lot of the other characters are just assholes, which doesn't help that they're the ones we're supposed to root for.
And yeah, Ra, whose actions kind of started this whole mess. Yeah, I'll just give one of my sons all the power and have the other one castrated pretty much and put in a hot desert for ages on end, only for the whole thing to end with him taking my place on some giant boats, fighting the same monster every single night until he dies.
It would have been so much better if they just kept in the detail that a lot of that stuff that happened to Seth was a punishment for stuff he'd done prior. Here, it's sadly not as clear, so if Ra did all that stuff to him unprovoked, what the hell, Dad?
Yeah, I know. It'd be like if a pair of twins were born. You let one twin have all the nice toys and everything, and you get the other one coal every Christmas, no matter what he did.
Dweebs, not twins, but Spectre.
Okay, could you have seen them somehow making a franchise out of this?
I gotta take that as a no.
What? With these shitty characters and the and the Craptacular Foundation, Jesus, Man of Steel was a better foundation for a cinematic universe than this.
What
Yeah.
about the Mummy 2017?
Okay, that's a bit harsh.
Damn. So you would still take this over whatever the Dark Universe was going to be.
Yeah, put it this way. I mean, at least this film has, Gerard Butler, some decently funny lines, and, well, the general misguidedness of it all. The Mummy 2017, what does that have?
It has
Russell
Tom
Crowe's-
Cruise feeding his ego.
Russell Crowe's weird British accent.
Yes. Tom Cruise screaming his lungs out.
Which they sadly changed in the actual movie. And the sheer hubris on the part of Universal, thinking that we'll just throw the whole Dark Universe stuff out there, even though this is the first movie in that series.
Like, okay, to their credit, having the plan wasn't the problem. The embarrassing thing is just that for all that planning, the first movie tanking like it did effectively killed that universe.
And having all the main actors of the supposed universe pose for a photo as if this was going to be the beginning of some grand epic.
That photo now belongs in a museum of cinematic failure.
Yep, right next to Batman and Robin. Almost any script from these writers, and well, I don't know, Jared Leto's career.
You know, it's funny you mention the writers because when you think about it, Morbius and Madam Web are technically movies from the same cinematic universe. A cinematic universe that persisted despite each movie being an increasing box office failure before they finally gave up after Craven.
Yeah, Gods of Egypt. It's something I can have a bit of fun with, but it's still shit. Not to mention the whitewashing before I forget.
Obviously. Dej.
Boy, that movie has an interesting idea and premise, but
The execution, yeah.
yeah. We clown them on it, but yeah, everyone being white kind of does make this a big red flag.
And
The main character is kind of dumb and dull. This feels like a movie that was made in the early 2000s, but without much of the same charm. Because I could have seen something good here. Like, I could have seen this be on par with something like Van Helsing or League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Okay,
two movies I've seen with Teo. Could have been worse, but yeah. It's the same writing crew as Madam Web.
Yes, the same two writers. It's basically, I don't think they're siblings they're just people.
They're basically like the Lord and Miller.
Mm-hmm. It's worth noting that in Power Ranger and Last Witch Hunter, they had co-writers. Technically also for Madam Web, but it really feels like their fingerprints are there too. So,
anything else, Tej?
No.
Go on, Jova.
Alright, I'll go next. This movie is bad. I'm now reminded why it was bad. Like, it's that kind of movie that when you think about it on the surface, if you can look past the whitewashing, which you shouldn't, but I digress, if you can look past the whitewashing, you might think, is a good idea. The problem is the execution. So, aside from the whitewashing, one of the biggest problems I've now noticed more so is just how bad the effects look. And I'm sorry, you had $140 million at the helm here. If you wasted that money on getting these top-notch actors who are white, well, congratulations. You played yourself, essentially. I guess, the Australians wanted to get to the Aussies some chance here and there, but dudes, really, for a movie that takes place in Egypt, the score is fine, but it's just there. The sad thing is the score is probably the least offensive thing about this movie, because the characters, oh boy, Beck's an asshole, but he's one we're supposed to care of because he's a thief with a heart of gold. Ergo, he's Aladdin without the cunning or charm, essentially. And that's more than we can say for his girlfriend, one of the big catalysts of the plot, who literally just gets shot with a stray arrow, and she did. Don't worry, though, just about everyone comes back in the end except for Set and Osiris. Hey, come to think about it, if we could bring back all the gods that Set killed, why couldn't we bring back Osiris as well?
Because poor Shenron can only, resurrect people from that killed by a specific person, I guess.
Of course. Happy, happy, joy, joy, the ending, essentially. Even the action, which could have been the best part of this movie, up until, say, the final fight with Horus and Set, feels like it can be lame with how it ends. Like, it either comes up with lame endings or has the characters grasp the idiot ball to let stuff proceed. And the characters don't have the best relationships or drama between them. Like, yeah, Horus and Hathor are in love, but most of their time together we see them bickering and whatnot. Same with Horus and Beck, who bicker a lot, and of course we've got the liar reveal plot, which ignores the fact that Beck himself was an asshole to Horus at the start, essentially. Like, yeah, Horus wasn't perfect, but Beck, for no reason, was a dick to the guy who was literally their best hope at saving the day, essentially. Even if I guess he didn't care because his loved one's dead. Which, yes, I get it. The death of a loved one can be very tragic. But we as the audience barely get to know, I think her name's Zaya, before she dies, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Now, Gerard Butler is probably the best thing in this movie, essentially, since essentially he plays upset to be evil Leonidas, and I'm here for it. Such a shame that they don't then take full advantage of it. Like, if you're gonna have him be evil Leonidas, throw in the obvious references, especially when Horus shouts at him that this is madness. Like, the writers had it, but they fumbled it, like so much else. Ra's motivations don't make much sense. And I don't mean in the case of, typical, the gods thinking is beyond us. I mean, okay, if we assume that Ra did what he did to Set as punishment for Set being evil, that's one thing, but the movie never clarifies that it was because of any past actions that Set did. In fact, it implies that Set's evil because of what Ra put him through. And for what? Some arbitrary test which turns out to pretty much nearly doom the whole Earth? Makes you wonder if Ra was senile, but he supposedly did this while he was a much younger age, so congrats, Ra. You led to your son killing his brother out of sheer insanity. Great job. Great job. Not that Set is completely competent himself. Again, the way the plot kicks off is just that Beck just randomly manages to steal Horus's eye because he's lucky. Like, I guess we can maybe chalk up that he's very athletic and gymnastic, but that implies that anyone who does enough exercise could have just taken the Horus eye, essentially. Sure, yeah, there's some flips, kicks, and rolls, but it's not exactly what I would call the most perilous journey, especially since they don't even show him how he escapes the tomb. So, methinks there was not much thought put into this, which is really a shame, because it's the Egyptian gods, a mythology that people may not be as knowledgeable, especially compared to other pantheons especially. But it feels like the opportunities were overall wasted, especially since even when we do see other gods, most of them kind of die not too long after they're introduced to the plot anyway. It's mostly just Hathor, Horus, and Set we focus on god-wise. Toph shows up, you think he's going to be part of the main party, literally dies after he solves the riddle from the Sphinx, which suggests he's not as smart as he wants you to think anyway, which is just kind of reducing him to the black comedic side relief, as Dead said. And look, kudos to Chadwick Boseman for seeing the writing on the wall and actually trying to help this movie, but I'm like, my dude, this was a lost cause. There were probably better movies you could have been in. I appreciate the effort, but it wasn't enough. But the biggest problem is just the utter lack of charisma from characters. Like, when arguably the most charismatic character in your plot is the villain, and not because he's well written, there's a problem. And that's just Gods of Egypt's problem in a nutshell. It's not a compelling film to watch here. I will say this, though, if you're watching it as a so bad it's good sort of movie, yeah, I could see a session of popping this on with friends, watching it to riff and whatnot. That being said, it absolutely deserved to be the box office failure that it was. May it rest in hell. Oh, sorry. It appears it did not have enough money for the afterlife, so simply be gobbled up by Apophis. All right, Tio, your final thoughts.
Not much more than I can add. I can tell only my personal experience with this is that outside of the more obvious glaring problems about the writing and, of course, the whitewashing, there's a part of it that still enjoys this movie as a guilty pleasure, mostly because, again, we haven't seen that much about the Egyptian pantheon in movies. So as a first attempt, I agree with Deji that this could have been worse. But at the same time, the mistakes were so, easy to avoid, and yet they still fell into that. It's so very weird. Like I said, I don't mind too much the changes from the myths that they did because that's part of the course when it comes to mythology all over the place, and there's always the room in the future for another stab at it that tries to be potentially more gruesome about it while being more accurate. No, really, the only major problems that I do agree upon that really hamper my experience are the writing specific around Beck's character and the lack of extra, backstory slash motivation for Seth, which otherwise is a relatively compelling villain for what he does or the rest of the movie. It even gives, at least for me, it even gave at the end an idea that he might have genuinely have a shot at actually killing Apophis if he tried hard enough instead of just pelting, pot shots at it like Ra tends to do. But alas, what can you do about it? So that's basically it. At the end of the day, it's still a movie that needs to be remembered for how bad it is, but I do enjoy, taking the piece out of it with a rewatch occasionally about it. Not that much, but occasionally enough to, make fun of it and appreciate some of the stuff. Unlike Waves, I'm not particularly super mindful about the CGI outside of some specific places like the green screen at the end. Just, letting you know. Alright, that's pretty much it. So we'll see you if, such a other attempt at adapting the Egyptian mythology happens. Otherwise, I don't know, maybe Clash of the Titans at this point. Why not? See ya.
Perhaps. See ya.
Bye.